Okay. Hello, everyone who is rewatching this. Hold on a second. All right, Cody, I think I saw your message in the chat. You have to leave at 1:45. That's totally fine. Okay. So any of you watching, listening, if anyone jumps in, you guys can feel free to ask questions. I'm always like, I don't I don't always want it to be me giving a talk. I don't want it to seem like that. This fiber shouldn't take long, but I do want to just talk about issues that you guys ask me about separately a lot, just to kind of talk through it, see what others are doing, I find is probably helpful for you. And of course, like me giving the message to the masses is easier than having, the conversation individually, but I'm also like, I have this program set up to work with you guys one-on-one. So I am here for you if you're struggling with anything in particular. But I wanted to talk about fiber today because it's something that I ask you guys when we do the check-in assessment, and it's a little bit tricky. And typically, like if you're strictly doing macros, fiber is not always something that you're paying attention to, or like probably most diets, like keto and things like that. I guess you pay attention to fiber to some degree, but I don't know that everyone realizes just how important it is. Um, so we do know there's a lot of medical literature about how getting enough fiber prevents or greatly decreases risk for things like heart disease, a lot of cancer, specifically like colon cancer. So it is very important. And just from an appetite standpoint, it really helps keep you full and it cuts down on cravings. So you guys may have heard me say before, but I always say that protein and fiber together are nature's Ozempic, because those two things are going to keep you full. It's going to give you a lot more willpower. When we're eating simple carbohydrates and saturated fats all day, our sugars go like this. We're like on a constant roller coaster of sugar spike, plummet, crave sugar again, spike, plummet. And a lot of times that affects even things like mental health. A lot of patients that I work with, they're like, I feel like I'm on an anxiety roller coaster all day, and it's up and down and up and down. And a lot of that correlates to blood sugar levels. So fiber with protein is one of the things that helps keep it like this. And our body likes this a lot more than, roller coaster. So how do you get enough fiber when you're in a calorie deficit? And that's the first thing I want to talk about because it is more of a challenge. But I want you guys, I mean, most of you that I'm working with are in a calorie deficit. And maybe for some of you who we've worked together longer, you're back to maintenance. But the first thing I want to tell you is that it is a lot easier to hit your fiber goal when you're at maintenance calories and not in a calorie deficit. So maintenance calories for most of you is at least 1,800, even upwards of 2,000 calories a day. There's a lot of flexibility there. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine ever being at that calorie level and being able to still maintain my weight. But it's one of my favorite things to do with people is to do a reverse diet to maintenance, and their minds are always blown at how they maintain the progress that they made eating a lot more food. But of course, when you're eating more calories and you have more carbs and things like that to spend, it's easier to work the fiber in. So fiber goal is the same for everyone. Well, I say everyone, but men, the goal is 35 grams a day. Women, it's at least 25, like 25, 30, 35 grams a day. Now, if you're not used to eating a lot of fiber, you probably don't want to go from eating like 5 grams of fiber to 35 grams of fiber in a short period of time. It can cause some GI distress, that sort of thing. And a lot of you guys, one of the biggest questions that I get is, can I use a fiber supplement? Fiber supplements can be very helpful, but I do not want that. I want to make sure that you're getting a lot of fiber from whole food sources, not just relying on a supplement. So what kind of foods do we get fiber from? Basically, these are going to be legumes, beans, and all of the plants. So when we talk about, and a lot of you guys have done DNA core, and I sit down and go through the reports with you, it's over and over and kind of the basis of what our challenge is this week, but we need colorful plants. We need phytonutrients, and that is where we're going to get fiber from. So one of my favorite sources of fiber is raspberries, because raspberries have a lot of antioxidants. They're low in carbs and glycemic index, and they have the most fiber of any fruit, surprisingly. Apples have a lot as well. And a lot of you will say, okay, well, I don't have enough carbs, or if I have this apple, it's going to send me over on carbs. So theoretically, we could remember that you don't have to eat a whole apple. You can eat a half of an apple. And maybe that fits within your carbs for the day. Or maybe you cut down by one piece of bread or a little bit of pasta to make room for that apple. That's going to be, a lot better bang for your buck in the whole nutrient realm than, a piece of bread from a package. Same thing with beans. I love getting like chickpeas, black beans. You can throw those on top of a salad. And remember that you don't have to do a full serving, because, when you are trying to keep carbs in check, beans, of course, are very high in carbs. But again, you don't have to do a full serving. You could do a fourth of a cup of beans, on your salad or whatever it is. But the more plants you are working into your just daily life, for those of you, again, who have done DNA core, our goal is at least 5 to 7 servings or portions of vegetables and fruit a day. Not necessarily fruit. Fruit would be a little bit less than that, but you know what I'm saying, like colorful plants. That is all going to add up, and it's going to contribute to your overall fiber goal. What else did I want to tell you guys? I knew I should have made a list about what I wanted to tell you for fiber, and I didn't make a list. It's easier to fit in with maintenance. What your goal is: 25 for females, 35 for males. Even things like nuts and seeds, like adding flaxseed, chia seed, hemp heart seeds, that is a good way to get some fiber in, and it all adds up. So looking at how you're spending the numbers that I gave you and making sure that we're choosing as many whole food sources as possible, like that's what's really going to make a difference with the fiber. Now, if you need to add a fiber supplement on top of that, that's fine. But I don't want you like eating a ton of processed food and getting very little fiber in your normal diet, and then relying on things like Metamucil and Benefiber and, whatever else. So, I want you guys, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you where to find your fiber intake for those of you who may not know how to locate that. So if you go to my Fitness Pal and you click on like the log food, where your diary is, scroll down to the bottom to the little tab that says nutrition, and you should see your amount of fiber right there. And like for me, my goal is 25 grams. It probably defaults that to most females. So coming as close to that. I mean, like when you're in a calorie deficit, like try to get at least 20 grams. And it would be great if you could get even higher than that, but 20 grams would be good. And then just know, like when we start to move you more towards maintenance, that's one of the number one things that we want to make sure we have up is that fiber. And there really should be no reason why you can't consistently hit that level when you're at maintenance calories. So I hope that that is helpful. I don't want this to be too long as far as you guys having to rewatch lengthy videos. I know nobody has time for that, but I'm going to post the recording in the Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, let me know. I think most of you who don't have let me know, and I'll make sure I send this to you separately. But everyone else, just make sure that you are in my private Facebook group. If you do not have that, link, let me know and I'll send it to you, but I did send it, to the whole group. So yeah, that's my